everyone, Tracy here. I'm going to share with you my daily setup in my Fauxbonichi. I showed you the monthly, but I've been getting even more requests to share with you my daily setup. So before we begin, I just want to share with you, this is the book that I am using, and I picked it up at Barnes & Noble when we went to the States. So if you have a different book, your grid lines are going to be a different size probably, and your numbers will be a little bit different. So the first thing I do before I do anything else, even before I do my monthly spread, is I add my washi tape on my edges. And a few of you have been asking me if I glue the pages down. No, I do not. This is all I do is I take, well, I should have something heavy on here. I take my washi and I figure out how long I need it to be, and then I put it on about halfway, which is usually not quite 2 grid lines, depending on the width of your washi. If it's really wide, you're going to need 2 or even 2 and a bit. So I have my one piece of paper here with the washi half on it. If you can see, half of the washi sticking off. And then I grab one other page. So I do not glue these together. The only way that they are held together is with this piece of washi tape. And then I try to make them nice and straight and even. And then I start in the middle and I fold it over. And then I just, as I'm pushing down the washi, I'm kind of taking my thumb and pushing down towards the middle, like, of the book, like that, just so it stays crisp at the tip, at the edge here. So then I take my corner rounder here, and I just put it in there. Lots of times I like to use my small scissors, because I like when the little piece of the washi sticks up. And then I just match it up, cut that corner off, and go to this side, and then I cut this corner off. So that is how I do my washi, easy peasy. And if you don't, if you didn't see that well, I have a picture tutorial in my All About Me book on how I actually folded it. So let's get on with my daily spread. The very first thing I do before I add any lines is I write down the days of the week and the numbers of the month, and I do that very lightly in pencil so I can erase it later on. And the reason I do that is for 2 reasons. One, so I know when the end of the month is, so I can stop my certain color washi tape, because as you can see, I like to have a different color for each month. And another thing that it helps me with is when I'm stamping my numbers and when I'm stamping my days of the week, so I know which day of the week and which number we are on. So when I decorate my book and when I put all my lines in my book, I do it like an assembly line style. So after all the washi tape is done, then I will put all of my horizontal lines down here. And what I do is I count 6 full grid marks down, and then I'll draw a line, and then I'll carry it over. And then for my thankful or grateful or something that makes me happy, that's what this space down here is for. I count 6 grid lines up and then draw my line. And I usually use these markers here. They're just from the dollar store. But my black ran out, so I grabbed my Sharpie today. And actually it bled through, but actually it was a good thing that it bled through. It was actually helped me along. And the reason why it did that was, as I was drawing these lines, what I usually do is after I count down the 6 for the first one, I put the paper like this so I can see the previous page, and then I just carry my line across. But I was noticing that there was a little dot on exactly where I had to put my line. And at first I thought, oh, that's odd that there's a flaw in the paper exactly where I need to put my line. And then I realized, oh, my Sharpie is bleeding through. So after I do all my horizontal lines, and I do that through the whole month, then I do all my vertical lines. How I came to doing this spacing, and I do have a template here so I don't have to measure it out every single month, but how I did my spacing was, besides playing around with all these numbers here, is I took my longest month stamp and I took my longest day of the week stamp because I use the same ones every month. And I put them in this space to make sure they fit, and then I drew my lines to the longest ones. And then same here, I wanted to make sure my days of the week, the numbers of the week, I took 28 because that seems to be, it would have been the widest number. And this will totally depend on your stamps that you're using. But I will give you mine. It is 6 over from my washi tape because some washi tapes are thicker and they go over. So I count 6 over. And then my monthly is 14 full grid marks. And then my weather is 6 grid marks. And then my steps, and I usually write my weight here, that's whatever's left over. It's not a big deal how much space is left over. And then on this side, I work backwards. I do my date here, which is the 6 full grid marks. And then I do my month, which is the 14 grid marks, and then my weather, which is 6, and then my steps are whatever's left over. And here there are no lines. So after I had done that, the very first time I had done that, I made myself a template so I don't have to count them out every month. The reason this is rounded here is so I know that this page goes over here, and then I will put it to the edge, and then I just transfer my lines up. And that's for the day, the month, the weather, and the steps. And then for this side here, I flip it, put it to the edge, and then I have the other side on this one here. So that's why I rounded the corner, so I know which one it has to be on. You're going to use different stamps, or you're going to write them in yourself, or you're going to use stickers. So all of these numbers are not going to work for you. You're going to want to figure out your own numbers. But I've been having a lot of people ask me what my spacing is, so that's why I wanted to do this video. So there is how I do that. Then comes stamping. Now, thinking of the assembly line theory, that is how I do my stamping as well. I will stamp the month on every single page, and the month I usually stamp in the color that I'm planning to use for the full month. So I use my month stamp, and I will stamp all of the pages throughout the whole month, and then I will do my numbers. And I will do my numbers through the whole month. See, 1, and then I will do the number 1 for 10, and then I'll do 11, and then I'll do the number 1 for 12, and then I'll do the number 1 for 21. Like, I keep my 1 out, and I put it throughout the whole month. That's why putting the numbers down, like I had said, helped me out throughout the month. I will go through my whole book and I will stamp all my number 1s. So this is for the number 10. That's for the 10th. And this is for the 11th. And then this is for the 12th. So I will go through the whole month and I will stamp all my 1s, and then I'll go and I'll stamp all my 2s, and so on and so forth. All my numbers are now stamped in place. And then for the days of the week, I do the same. I will stamp my Wednesday. I wanted that one to be in black, but either I'll stamp over top of it and see if that works, or we'll just leave it. But what I will do is I will go through my book, because I have Tuesday and Wednesday, like I have all of the weeks of the month written down. So then I will just go along and I will stamp Wednesday on every one of the Wednesday days. And then these get filled up as the days go by. Now that I have all my stamps up here, I have my day, my month, and my week. And like I said, I went from Saturday, 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 stamped all those, and then did all Sunday, Sunday, so I didn't have to change my stamps on my blocks. Now I'm going to do my little thankful area down here. I'm going to use a new stamp. I've used Count Your Blessings, or Count Blessings. I had a thankful stamp, and then I really thought this one was fun, this Happy, Happy, Happy stamp. So this time I'm going to use, it is called #GoodStuff. So I'm just going to go and stamp those along all the pages, and then that part will be done. Now that all of my stamping is done for the month, and I've erased all of my pencil marks, I know this seems like a long process, and it kind of is, but it's so much easier and faster to do it for one full month than it is to do it day by day. And I know myself, I would probably put it off day by day, whereas if everything's on here, then it's just easier to do my journaling. Now, this is a little dilemma I had for this month. I always add my art blocks in, and there's a few times where I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have had an art block for like these pages here. These ones here, because I stamped a bigger image, and there's a couple more even last month that I did. Or this here, I put this here and I had to extend my art block because I wanted to put this down here. So sometimes I've had to extend my art block, and sometimes it's like, oh, why do I even have one in there? There's another page that I had a lot of stamping and coloring going on. This one here, I really didn't need the art block for that day. But I think I'm still going to add them in. I was really debating on this. Still add them in just to have a finished look, and I can always, like I did before, extend them longer, just use some whiteout to white out the color of the pen. Or, yeah, as you can tell, I'm still debating on it, but I'm going to do it anyway. Now, in my old Fauxbonichi, what I did, it was a bigger book, so I just used one of these acrylic blocks and drew it in, and that's how I got my art blocks on each day. But this book is smaller, and these are a little bit too big. I was hoping I could have used one of these, but that's a little bit too small. Oh, I do have this, another template, and I put this up and I put a tick here, and it tells me this is the corner of making those two lines intersect. With all of my debate on if I should have my art blocks in there, I still like the look of them, so I've decided to, yes, I'm going to do them. But I made them a little bit bigger, which is kind of ironic considering I wasn't sure if I was going to have them, and then I make them bigger. But what I did was I counted in 4 blocks in from the center, so in the month area, I counted 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks in, and I went down 6 1/4 millimeters, or 2.5 inches, and then that's where I ended my line and went right across. And then here, from the center of the month block, I went the 4 in, went down again 6 1/4 centimeters, or 2.5 inches, and then did my line. So that's how big my art blocks are. This would have worked fine, except it's just a little bit smaller. I could have used this and moved it 1 block up and 1 block down. So there we go. Now the fun part is to decorate the pages. Isn't it nice to just see a nice clean page just ready to be filled in? So here are all of my pages all decorated, and the header is all filled in, and now it's just waiting for my days to be filled in with lots of journaling and some art and some coloring. So I hope that helped you out. I hope you enjoyed watching how I decorated, and I hope I helped you out with the header since I had so many questions on it. And I hope you enjoyed the video. So thank you everybody for watching, and I hope you all have a very creative day today. Bye now.
Every second